Very good. I'm going to hang on here. All right, I am going to call the Village of Cross Plains Finance Advisory and Enhancement Committee of July 6, 2022 to order. Roll call, please.
Committee Member Henry.
Here.
Committee Member Cutler. Here. Committee Member Hillebrand. Committee Member Pomykowski.
Here.
President Langfeld.
Here. All right, we're at public comment. This is an opportunity for anyone to address the Finance Advisory and Enhancement Committee. Please observe the time limit of 3 minutes while the Finance Advisory and Enhancement Committee encourages input from residents that may not discuss or act on any issue that is not duly noticed on the agenda. I don't see anybody else logged in, so.
And I don't have anything either.
We'll move right into reports. We decided to add this section. What's that? What did you say, Bobby?
Nothing.
Oh, okay. We decided to add the next section, reports. That way we can don't have to put everything on the agenda that we want to talk about. The only thing I want to update you on is Village Hall Police Station met last week with an individual that's interested in purchasing the current site. And they don't care if the closing is in 2026. So we're going to talk to the attorney and the staff this morning. So we'll just see how that pans out. But I just wanted to let you guys know, please don't spread it all the way around. But I just want to keep you informed that that's the update that has to do with finance. All right. Oh, go ahead.
The building that you're currently in, you've got a buyer for?
Correct.
Okay, thanks.
Yep. Committee members, anybody have anything they'd like to share that's not on the agenda, just as information?
No.
Okay.
I'm good.
All right. Finance Director, Bobby, you have anything?
I do not have anything today.
All right, great. We will go to general business. It's discussion and possible approval of the June 1st, 2022 Finance Advisory and Enhancement Committee minutes. Do I have a motion to accept those minutes?
So motioned.
All right, I have a motion and a second to approve the June 1st, 2022 minutes. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Oppose, same. So moved. All right, discussion and possible action regarding draft survey for staff on village consultants. Was everybody able to open that link?
I didn't see it.
Oh, right. She had it on the screen. There was one sheet that was a link. Can you open that? Yeah. It's
there it is.
Yeah. I'm hoping one of you guys with computer skills can get this a little bit smaller. Bobby, can you hit next just to show the format?
Oh, you want it all on one page or something?
One page would be very helpful. But
okay.
You see, we have, this is the setup is right, but everything is so big, and we have so many consultants. You go to the next page, you might not remember what the question was.
Okay. Yeah, I can futz around with it if Bobby can send. I didn't do this. I think Becky put this together. Share it with me to. Oh, okay.
Okay.
But yeah, I've made these before.
Oh, you have?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Bobby, can you ask Becky to send her whatever she needs to be sent to be able to work on it?
Sure.
All right. But this is kind of how the format would work.
Yeah.
I thought, but I don't, I guess on this one, I don't see can you go, is this the first one? Because usually there was a question on top, I thought.
There is. It's mostly discussing how satisfied you are with each consultant's.
Right. There should be 7 with the multiple choice and then 1 comment one, but I don't see the question on communicate. I see communications, but I don't.
This is how, right, how, you know, how they communicate with you.
Okay, but I thought we had it. Well, I'd have to go back to see. Go ahead, hit the next one. I guess I miss.
Yeah, you have other comments at the end.
Okay, but I guess, so this section will rate how satisfied. Okay, 1 is productivity, 1's community. Okay, I'm okay with that then. It's not really as a question, it's just more of a statement, right?
Yeah, how satisfied are you with timeliness?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay. Yeah, if we could condense that, if we could make those smaller, that would be great.
Yeah, there's ways.
Okay. All right. If any, I guess it seems like a lot of you didn't catch that. If there's anything that else you wanted, I took the questions that Michael kind of copied when we gave him the feedback at the last meeting, and I put it into a matrix, and then Becky took that and put it in to this type of other areas that you think we should be checking. Please go through this and shoot Deb an email. I think, like I say, there were 7 of them that we looked. Oh, okay.
Do you have one for value of money? I mean, that's always a question.
What do you mean? What do you mean value?
Do you feel your money is the money going to this consultant is well spent? You know, we've all bought something and then gone, well, that wasn't worth the X amount of dollars, or, you know.
Yeah, I'm just not sure how many people know how much we're spending.
Oh, okay.
That's my only, that's what I'm trying to think we could do something. Well, that hopefully that was the idea of having all, and I would say that it hasn't been worth the value. If it's a high score, then I would think it would be. That's kind of, I thought, the way I was thinking, at least.
That makes sense.
And then people could put in comments, under whatever one they thought, saying, hey, this doesn't seem to be worth, or doesn't seem like we're getting our money's worth. Okay. In the comments section. All right. So if you have any other suggestions or anything, if you can get them to Deb. And Deb, do you think you could bring it back in August meeting?
Absolutely. I could probably get it done if everybody sends their suggestions this week. I'm not doing much on Sunday and it won't take me that long.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, perfect.
I'm pretty good at all things Google Suite.
Oh, good. Good to hear. Because I certainly don't have discussion and possible action regarding water/sewer rates. This was, if you remember, there's a trustee that's interested in us taking a look at what Eau Claire, Wisconsin does for their water sewer billing. So this first page that you're looking gives a little bit of a background on what we do, what Eau Claire does. And then Bobby sent me the numbers. And these are the calculations for the winter months to give your base, because that's how Claire does it. And then an average, so you get an average, and then that's what people pay for basically the other 9 months for sewer, is that average. So then I applied that towards what our actual usage is for what we bill for, and you can see what the numbers are. It's all, at least the summer months, we would be running in the red. The water rate, most of it stays the same because they'll still be paying for the water part of it. The only difference is we have that irrigation meters, and there's 192 of them. There really wouldn't be much value in maintaining that second meter if we were doing the Eau Claire model. And I'm guessing that amount, which we get about 22,000, would slowly drop. I don't see it increasing at all. So that would be the impact for water. So is there anything else that we should be looking at this? Or comments on that? I sent it to sustainability. They've got to put the second page together, and then we'll send it to the board.
Just that, in my opinion, if they want to do this, they should either get an irrigation thing or suck up the cost, because it's not our problem. They can't, there's rain barrels, there's methods they can do this in a more not only economical but environmentally friendly way. So I don't see a reason to do it, to be honest.
Here's the, and again, our job is to just come up with the numbers, and I'm trying to keep our group as neutral as possible, so people don't say, well, you just are doing these reports to go your way. So you certainly can give your opinion when this goes to the board, but right now this is kind of a neutral thing. We're just throwing out the facts to it, and not that I disagree with you at all on this. It's just a matter of, this here is more intended to give the board the data points that I think are needed to make a decision. So the question is, are there any other data points that anybody thinks we should add to this?
Well, my question is how are you going to offset the deficit? Obviously, we can't run in a deficit for that. So how does it get distributed? If we do the average, does everybody just pay more?
Yes. The cost of the sewer side would definitely go up. That's the only way to do it.
Yeah. I mean, I would just add, as someone who built a new house in town and probably pays a lot more in taxes than, people that have lived in town, that, I water my lawn and my vegetable garden and that kind of stuff. And, I don't think I should be paying sewer costs on that, but, again, it's not that, but as far as the numbers, I think the numbers are there, and it's just a matter of, is the village board willing to distribute those costs, because it will rise for some people and go down for others.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right on that. That's exactly what the discussion will probably be on. All right. So again, I'm going to wait for sustainability to get their side done, and then that's ready to move forward. I know the trustee is eager to get that to the discussion point in at the board level. So
is there action to take on this, or was this just a discussion point?
Say that again.
Is there action that we need to take on this, or was it just a discussion point? I guess you're looking for a motion to approve this, or
yeah, I guess so. If yeah, that's I think you're right. Right, I think because then I have the freedom to move this forward as soon as sustainability goes through. So, yeah, I guess I'd like a motion to accept this this part of the report.
And who did this report?
Well, I did. I threw it together.
Okay. Yeah.
So, I just have. So Bobby just got you the June, July, and August numbers to compare what that would be for those, and she told, but she didn't provide you the other 6 months.
No, she gave me a whole year, but I didn't want to spend the time to do the other 6 months worth. But because I figured these are the high ones that it's going to be. I would imagine the May, June one would be probably very similar to the August, September. And unless you do an ice rink in the winter time, you know, it's going to balance out. I just took, because those are your biggest months of outside watering. If you're suggesting we do all 12 months.
You know, if you wanted this is just me spitball, we don't have to. If you wanted a complete report as to moving toward this model, it would be a model of all 12 months, how much revenue works out by, to then break even with the differentiation, how much would sewer costs have to increase by in order to implement this model, and how much would water bills increase by implementing this model? Like, that would be like the whole financial scope.
Well, I guess that's true, but I can tell you right now, looking at that's why I put the percentages in. You would know right now that if you took those 3 months, added them, divided by 3, that would be the increase that sewer rates would have to go up for at least those months. Water, I wouldn't do too much about because it's not a huge impact amount, and I would not know when people would remove their meters. That could be a slow thing of, 20 a year, and it wouldn't be significant at all. But if the group, I don't have a problem, I'll go do the next 6.
I don't know. It's just,
no, I thought about it, but like I say, I could do it. It's just, it's a number of steps to get where we got and stuff. So those would be I figured these would be the high months.
Curiously, are the new houses being built going to have these irrigation meters? Are they planned for them? I mean,
some people are choosing, some are not. It's an optional thing. And really, to be honest with you, the thing where this really comes up, to be honest with you, people end up a couple things. They have a high month where they're using it to start a lawn, so their bill is $400 or $500, or they're using it to fill a pool or something like that, where you have this big increase because of the cost. People, it's interesting. It all depends, if you do your cost benefit. I used to have a irrigation meter in my home here, and I took it out last year, the year before, when they replaced my meter, because I just don't use that much water outside. When I had kids and I made a hockey rink, then it was very profitable to do it. But right now I'm losing money. I was losing money. So I took it out. I know there's other people that have put them in. I think it's kind of on a needs basis, and you work out what the cost is.
Well, and I think you're going to run into issues with people like me who have kids and the pool's not open. And so we're filling up the pool in our yard every other day because the water is only good for 2 days, and I got to fill it up again. So, you're going to run into that, but it's ultimately an appetite, or a discussion of what the village board has for an appetite and how you distribute those costs and whether they're willing to do it. And I think you've highlighted the main months in that. And I think that should be good enough. If they want more of a breakdown, then they can send it back for more of a breakdown, but I don't think they're going to need that to make a decision. I think it's just unnecessary work.
And you said that when these all get drained, it will end up in the gutter storm drains, and that won't add additional costs at that end to the village?
No, they generally, that's the sewer system's a closed system. So it's the water that ends up going down the drain inside your house that ends up in the water treatment plant.
I was just making sure that we wouldn't, being taxed for it at both ends.
No, but you bring up a very good point, because one thing I noticed in Eau Claire, and I read an article, Middleton, there's a number of places that have stormwater charges. They charge people, I don't know how they calculate it, but if you looked at Eau Claire's billing process, there's a line item for stormwater. And I don't know if it's a utility or
it's a utility. Verona has a stormwater utility that shows up on people's water bills.
Well, that's what Middleton has too then.
Or maybe it's Middleton. I knew it was on one of those bills.
Yeah, Middleton definitely has it, and I notice Eau Claire has it too.
Yeah, it's a separate utility. You know, I mean, I guess when you replace curb and gutter, would that be that utility paying for that stuff? See, I don't even know. I
have no idea. It's just another way that I know municipalities bring in revenue outside the property tax, but you know, it comes out of a different a pocket out of the same pair of pants. So, right. You know, yeah. But that's why I think some of them can do lower water rates and sewer rates because they have a charge for that cost. Why we kind of combine everything.
Yeah, Verona charges $16.50 on their stormwater charges quarterly. So they charge about $5.50 a month for their stormwater.
Well, I'll make a motion that we accept the water sewer report.
All right. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right. Any other discussion?
No, I'm totally fine with this. If you guys want to move forward, could I, if Bobby sent you those numbers, could you send those to me, Jay?
Sure.
And I'll just like maybe horse around with them on my own and see like what comes out. I'd just kind of be curious, like throw it in a Excel spreadsheet and just see what happens.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, great.
I'll do it tomorrow.
Thank you.
Yep. All right. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, same. Carried. Thank you. Okay, we're at number 4, discussion and possible action regarding curbside leaf pickup program. Again, this one we've already approved. The villages approved it all. Remember, it got delayed last year because Public Works was down 2 people. I went through, if you can just page through, there's when it goes to pilot 1, what I would ask if someone would be willing to, in pilot 1, we're supposed to have 3 surveys. 1 goes to staff, 1 goes to the residents that live in the pilot program. And yeah, there you go. And the 3rd one goes try to get a thing village wide. So I have found the timesheets and work logs because they're very similar to what we used last year for the pilot program 2 or proposal 2, I guess we call them proposals. So if someone would be willing, or we split it up to do the survey, to come up with very short surveys, I would appreciate that. Because I'll work on with Jerry, because I've talked to Jerry today, I'll work with him on getting the information sheet out to the people in the area there that we've dedicated as our test area. And I'll try to do that. But if I could get those 3 surveys off my plate, that would be very helpful. And like I say, the staff one, I don't see much of this more than probably 3 to 5 questions, you know, for the residents that live in the test area. How did it work? Would you be willing to pay more taxes to have this service? What do you see as improvements? So it's something really like that, and then open comments. Something that's
out of curiosity, if some people, instead of property taxes paying for it, just have it as a service that people pay for out of pocket.
Well, that would be, I think that could be one of the options. I was thinking the same thing, but I wasn't thinking so much of necessarily charging, but doing having an option of like we do for brush pickup where they call in, I don't know if we get overwhelmed with that. I mean, I think there's some residents that just can't get leaves to the drop-off site. So, but that would be another option, but I think that would take a ton of billing. I don't know how much staff time that would be. I don't know, but those would be some questions I guess we could ask the residents and village-wide just to see. But we should be able to, because we had really good numbers for the pilot program we worked last fall by working off the timesheets and the work logs. It was really worked out pretty well. I mean, Jerry was able to really give us some good numbers on that. So we could definitely, I think by the end of this, know the cost. The question is, I have to, the village right now, I believe we're getting really tapped out on the services that we can do. We're already paying really high taxes. So the question is, if people want this additional, are they willing to pay? Because I don't think we can do it with the staff that we have right now.
Well, yeah, I agree with that concept. I mean, what I would do if we were doing it for, those who would pay was, kind of like snow plowing. They come out a certain amount of times in the year, you announce the dates, and it is what it is.
Okay.
So,
which
means that Jerry can plan ahead.
I think this is very similar to the water sewer rate because, like for me, for example, like my neighborhood has no trees. There's absolutely no trees. And there were supposed to be trees in our developers agreement, and the village decided not to put them in. So, I think it's the same argument. It ultimately comes down to, how we pay for this and, what makes sense for people. So, and ultimately as a committee, I guess that's where it's just our job to come up with the numbers and pass it along to the village board for their appetite.
Right, but I think I agree with you, Jed. I think this one, once we get the data, we can have a number of options for the board. And like I say, I've been thinking the same way both of you on, instead of doing a village-wide, do it on a demand or needs basis, I don't know. But
yeah, I'd be happy, since I was going to work on the other survey, I can put together these as well.
Oh, okay. You'll do all three?
Or yeah, just anybody who's got questions, send them my way, and
okay,
I would be happy to.
Yeah, and again, I think they can be really short. For like staff survey on there, it should be, what was the compliance level? The pilot program we ran last year, that would be one. Was there time savings? What problems did you run into? Because we're throwing them into the toughest area of the village.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, if they're going to run, they're going to see every problem I think the village can throw at them in that area. There's cul-de-sacs, there's major mature
My house with all my leaves.
trees there. There's tight parking, a lot of people. What's that?
All of the leaves at Bobby's house.
Oh, yeah, there's a lot of one-car garages, so there's a lot of people parking on the street. I mean, like I say, they're going to run into everything that the city can throw at them in this. So I'm kind of interested to see how things pan out.
Yeah.
All right. So then the other question on that is, once I get the information sheet out, is anybody interested in going with me door to door to drop them off at residence? Because I think that's the only way I can figure out to make sure everybody gets one. Don't feel like you're obligated, because I do a lot of walking every day, so I'll get my steps, and I counted the blocks. I think there's 17 blocks, so it's not overwhelming. But if someone would like to take a stroll in August, then let me know, or September, or whenever we decide to do it.
You can message me if I'm around.
Okay.
I'll go, but I can't commit to. I never know what my schedule is, but if I'm around, I'll go.
All right.
Yeah,
I'll let everybody. I'll let everybody. What's that, Michael?
I could use a walk in August too if I'm around. I mean, that's
okay.
Fun. Yeah.
Yeah. Let me check with. I'll talk with Jerry when he thinks the best time to get the word out, and we'll make it a plan. With if 3 of us are going, it's not going to take very long at all. All right. Anything else on that? Any questions? All right. Very good. So number 5, discussion and possible action regarding 2023 capital items. So we'll start with A, Badger books.
Okay. So, luckily I have family in Middleton who has used these Badger book systems. I'm everybody's slides. You really like them. It made the process go so much faster for both them and the person in Bobby's position in Middleton. So if you look at it in multiple different ways, it will be helping the community because we will be able to, no more double lines. People will get in and out much faster. We'll need about half the staff of volunteers, which will be helpful because Bobby, I'm sure, is
we actually have an abundance of
having problems getting volunteers all the time. And one of the oh, cool. And the worst part of being a poll worker goes away, which is reconciling, which will be a huge time savings and a whole lot less annoying for all volunteers put together. So I did a lot of research looking at what other communities did, and I did put a link in to how Miranda or whatever went to the board, whatever you'd like to call it, so that you wouldn't have to, you know, redo the wheel.
Yep.
And I used a bill from Waterford Village to figure out that it would be about $6,500 to get 3 setups, which, considering the governor's election and the next presidential elections are going to be huge, it would allow for 2 dedicated terminals for just voters coming in, and one that could be used easily for registration, for absentee ballots, and if necessary, also take on more walk-ins, because each station will now be able to do it all. It takes about a minute to pull somebody up. For Jay, it would be, all you need to type in is JLEN, and all of them from Wisconsin will appear in the book. You don't really need a lot of computer skills. I was told they had to reboot a few times, but that may be easier to handle if whatever this update is coming does. Unfortunately, I could not find details about that. But it would be about as simple as going to self-checkout at the grocery store. Granted, self-checkout at the grocery store hates me, but it is a much smoother process. And even though it is not required at this junk fraud discussions, that it will not be enforced later on in coming years.
I'm trying to figure out where this is in the process. So this
Oh,
replaces the books, right? The books
This
that
is
you would,
actually, it will, it is, you walk in, you show your ID. It can actually be scanned now so that you can be pulled up that way. So yeah, this would replace the books. It would replace all the paperwork for doing registrations or registering to vote. And you still have to put in numbers, but you don't need a dedicated person to do numbers anymore. You could actually even get rid of the people handing out a ballot because you could just hand it to them right after they register.
so help me understand, what prevents someone from using someone else's name? So I show my ID, they say,
You
go to,
still have to bring in your ID. It is required in Wisconsin to put your ID.
right. So I bring it in and they say, okay, Jay Langfeld. So then I go to the computer and I'm supposed to put Jay Langfeld in.
You're not putting in Jay Langfeld. Bobby or
Poll workers.
or poll
okay.
workers are doing it.
Okay.
You still have poll workers, but you need significantly
Okay, so they
less
put
of them.
type your name in, and then
You-
you're do you
You
sign
will
electronically sign something?
Yeah, with your
Yes,
finger.
Okay.
which everybody has a lousy signature with their finger. So
Okay.
but yeah, that whole process, you would not need the A through L and the M through Z lines anymore because the computer can obviously look them all up.
Right. Okay. Now I'm understanding how it's
So
okay.
it's not connected to the internet, so that worry is not necessary. You have to buy a little router that, you know, the computers can talk to themselves in the room. And honestly, it'll make Bobby's life a lot easier, which seems a reason to do it just there.
Well, technically it's Renee. Renee's the one that uses our WisVote system. And I know she spends a lot of time after elections reconciling. And from what I've heard about this program, it will eliminate the hours she spends after the election.
Okay.
So we have a on costs and what this would potentially save.
No, because a lot of poll workers actually give back their payment. But I've had to stay after some elections 2-3 hours with another person just reconciling the books. Also,
but you said the cost. But you said the cost was for 3 of the machines, 8,600.
Or 6,500.
6,500.
62, it says.
Okay.
Well, that's what it says on that one.
Then
slide.
that's probably it. It's been a long day with a lot of numbers. I'm working at a bank currently. But yeah.
Costs to go with that for upgrades and changes?
There is not any upgrades coming as of yet, other than a software one. And if you look on the requirements page, I gave you a link to the invoices Waterford Village got for their system back in last year. And what the system includes is like that list of items on the other side. So, and I compared like the mouse and the keyboard and the barcode scanner to, you know, Amazon basic ones, which is what I personally use. And honestly, they're cheaper.
Right. So like one of these systems is basically a personal computer with the software loaded onto it. Is that like what it looks
Basically, with no
Yeah,
internet
like a little
access.
tablet.
Right.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
the
What is
front
it?
page shows you, or the front picture shows you exactly what the system looks like.
Oh, it's a tablet mounted on there. That's the thing underneath it isn't a computer. It's just a tablet with the stuff hooked into it, basically.
Yeah,
Oh, I got it.
and and it'll flip so that people can see it easily to sign their names.
Sure. I I have one question because I'm not that familiar with elections or balloting, but when you say reconcile voting, what does that mean?
When every person comes in and gives their name, the two people, you've seen the two different books, right?
Yeah.
For your name. So those two people will both check off that you've been there and say you got number 222. At some point during the day, they will sit there and read all the numbers and all the people to each other to make sure that they both wrote down the exact same thing, which is the major spots errors are done in elections. And in bigger elections, it is impossible to do during the day while people are coming in. One of the last presidential elections, I worked the polls for. I literally stood in the hallway at the fire station, making sure everyone got into the correct line and dealing with all the complaints by people that the system was not moving fast enough. And why were the A through L's line so much shorter than the M through Z line, even though 2 hours earlier, it was the exact opposite.
Right, okay.
So
what's the shelf life on this system?
I don't know.
There is no discussion. I could find that they were going to make major changes to it anytime soon, because the system is approved and set up through the government, and how quickly do they move?
So you said earlier that it's not connected to the internet.
Correct.
So how does it get all the database of all voters statewide if it's not hooked up to an internet or a cloud or something?
So
Bobby,
we'll load the data. We'll get the information from the Elections Commission on like a little drive thing. So we'll load it before the election.
Flash drive?
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay.
And then she'll probably load it back to the elections afterwards for all the people who have been added to the poll book.
Okay.
So
Bobby, as staff, what is your thoughts? Do we need this?
Yeah, I'm the one that requested it. I put it on the capital improvement plan for next year. So that's why we're researching it, because I asked for it.
So do we need a motion then to approve this recommendation or this report?
No, but because that's not what we're doing. But what would be helpful if, and you kind of have it, if we could put your slideshow into a report document so Bobby can send that to the board with the request.
Yeah, all that is a PDF of all the slides that I sent to her to add into here.
So how would you want this different, Jay, I guess? I think it looks good.
Yeah, no, I would put page numbers on. That one thing I would to do it. Yeah. Otherwise, I'm fine. But then you have, if you scroll through, you have links. If there's important data in those links, I would pull that data out and put it into
Aren't
the report.
Aren't you guys doing all your stuff still on tablets? Please, God, tell me you are not printing off your packets.
No. We're on tablet. No. I'm not very computer good at it. So if this looks to me like it's a PowerPoint.
The Google version, yes.
Okay.
Yes, if you'd like, I can make attachments of the different things. Obviously, I can't make attachment of the training video because it's a training.
Right. But here, and this is why I do it. If this can be put into that format, then we can put it and this is all electronically into a packet with this request. So the reader can look at the request, read all this without jumping to links, because I don't think a lot of people are going to be jumping to a whole lot of links. you know, and I don't blame them because I'm one of those people. And there are PowerPoints I can't get into for some reason. I'm not. So if we can get this into a document that is a standalone document that can be attached to.
Sure.
The package.
You want me to dumb it down? I would do so.
Or if someone knows how to do it, you know,
I'll probably
that's fine.
have it done in the next couple of minutes.
Okay, that's fine. But that's, I guess, how we should be doing this. I don't know if we do recommendations, one or the other, because again, I'm trying to keep us from not doing that. We're the collector, and I love the pros and cons. That shows that we're looking at both sides of it, and then we'll let the board decide.
Yeah. But don't we have to approve the report, or
we could do that? Yeah,
I mean,
we could
otherwise there's no reason for it to go outside of the committee. If we don't all agree on it, then it can't really go. It shouldn't go to the board, right?
Well, well, it can go. Bobby can bring whatever she wants to the board. You're right. If I think it holds a little bit of weight, if it's been reviewed and examined by this committee, and the report is coming from the committee versus just Bobby, I think there's some. And you're right. I would think that's how we would want to do it. So yes, I think we should have a motion then to accept this report.
Well, I have one quick question.
Sure.
And that would be, you know, you say it would cost about $6,200 for Cross Plains to get 3 of these. My question is what does it cost to run an election if you implement this system? What is the reduction in the number of poll workers? What is the savings of this system is implemented?
You would reduce 3 poll workers at $10 an hour.
I'd argue you could reduce even further than that.
Well, and it's not necessarily just a reduction in workers, is it makes the job so much easier. From what I'm understanding, that it's almost, I mean, you're basically, instead of a human going through and calculating each individual number in person, the computer can do it in 2 seconds. So you still have a human doing it, but then you've got a computer that's reconciling it. So it makes everything that much easier.
But I agree. But I think what Michael's saying is, what is the staff benefit in true hours and potential cost savings? So if Bobby thinks they can reduce the number of people by 3, you can do that calculation pretty easy at $10 an hour. You said Renee doesn't need to do
like her reconciliation.
Whatever the
like what is Renee's reconciliation? I understood it with the poll workers, but what does Renee do by herself?
So the big thing with Renee's time is, since all this absentee voting has increased exponentially the last few years, it's kind of hard to explain, but we have to like track those a lot. And so if people are returning their absentee ballots at the polls, or if there's rejections, so there's an election inspector statement. And so every time something happens out of the ordinary during the election day, we have to document that on a log. And I don't know, it's called reconciling. I don't deal with it directly, but I know that it takes her a long time. In the bigger elections, it's like days she spends. She gets frustrated.
I would also guess she's spending quite a bit of time creating the poll books themselves.
Yeah, you print them out, you know, there are tons of pages, and yeah.
Huge.
Okay, Bobby, could you do at least an estimate on cost savings if we ended up getting these programs? I think that's what Michael's looking at, not only dollars, but staff time.
That's definitely what I'm looking at, because you're saying, because you're saying, you know, you have an overabundance of people who want to be poll workers. So we don't have a shortage of labor at all. If we had a shortage of labor, the automation of this becomes obvious. If you don't have people to do it, the machines can take over. But if you have 1 million people who want to do that, then heck, why not have people in there? If it's gonna
Because the
cost
people
less?
are significantly slower than the machine and not as flexible due to having the need for a printed poll book instead. So with only 2 poll books being printed for each half of the alphabet, if one line is significantly longer than the other, one side cannot help out.
Right.
And if you want cranky Cross Plains residents, you watch them stand online as
No,
they vote.
I think Michael understands that's one of the benefits, but I think what he's asking is we should look at what cost savings dollar wise and staff time, even though finding staff may not be a problem now, but it always could be in the future. If we could still reduce staff time, that's a benefit. So if we can say this should reduce election staff time by 50 hours, or, you know, then have a calculation of what value that would be. I'm sure the village could find other work for Renee instead of spending days doing whatever she does during elections. If that's reduced to 1 day, now you have 2 days for her to do other village work. There's a benefit to that.
So for like the last presidential election, there were 4 of us that came in on the Saturday before the election to pre-number all the 800 absentee ballots and record those in the poll books. Like, that'll be eliminated. You know, we won't have to have all those staff members come in on a Saturday. What's that?
I said, I think ultimately it just comes down to they're looking for the financials to make this an easier sell to the village board. It would make sense. Financials just make it an easier sell.
And if we're the finance committee, we should provide those numbers, right?
Yeah.
I mean, so when you were saying 4 staff members came on, I said, were those staff members or were those the poll workers also? Like, is that what you meant?
Nope, it was me and Becky and Katerina and Andrea.
Oh, okay. Okay. Now, could poll workers do what you did?
Yeah.
Okay.
We could have had them come in.
Just curious.
If you could get people to come in on a Saturday.
I think it was just kind of a last minute thing. We're like, hey, we should number these ahead of time to save money on election day. So
and frustration.
So can we get that and bring this back at the August meeting? Because it'll still be in time for the budget process.
Okay. Yeah, we'll work on getting new numbers and then you can throw them in there for you.
Sure. One thing to consider, we're having governor election this year, correct?
Yeah.
Wait,
yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
From what I've seen, there's a turnaround of 20 weeks of getting these. So I'm assuming Bobby would not have the luck of getting them for governors.
No, the plan was to buy them in 2023 and then have at least 1 or 2 elections before the presidential in 2024 to get people used to it.
Right.
Right.
That was the plan, was to buy it next year.
Right.
And then have it mastered by November 2024.
Yeah, that makes total sense, and the timing's perfect. So the whole thing is the earliest we'd be ordering these is January of 2023. So we just gotta, that'll work out. All right, so we're just gonna bring this back at the August meeting with the financials. All right, B, Bear Park, large diamond update planning / engineering.
I didn't really do like a whole ton of research. I basically reached out to Mike Axum and was like, what were you thinking about doing with this on the capital thing? And this is basically what he emailed me back.
Okay.
Yeah, so sounds like they're looking at fundraising options and other dugouts and grass infields cost or what have you. I wasn't really sure how to approach this. or even how he was going to estimate, I guess, how much he would need for the capital to do this.
All right. Well, then let's just wait for that to develop and see if it even comes back.
Yeah.
I'll ask about it at the next Parks meeting and find out what's going on.
Yeah, thank you. It was just a quick email.
Skinned warning track.
A skinned warning track. I think I'm not a baseball guy, but I think that it's like the track that they have out by the outfield fence, so that when somebody's backing up to catch a ball, they go from grass onto that track, so they know that they're 5 feet away from the fence.
Oh,
is what I think that is. They're like 8 feet away, so they aren't running backwards at full speed and they just slam into a fence. That's why all those major league fields have.
Yeah, it's a safety thing.
Yeah.
Okay. I just never heard of those words.
That's the only thing I could think that is. And so they're trying to soup it up. They're trying to get grass on the infield and dirt on the outfield.
Okay.
All right. Well, let's just sit on this one then.
Okay. And then the next one was the pool feasibility thing. This is what his ideas were concerning that capital item. Was just beneath that on that same page.
I again, what's going on, what I'm having staff do, just so you guys are in the loop in it, is they're putting together a long-term, outside the SIP program, a long-term public facility list and staffing needs. So this one would probably, once we get that done, with hoping where to fit this in. I'm not sure that 2023 is going to be the ideal time to fit something like this in. So I would just hold off on this too until we get that work done.
What is going on with the pool? Just curiously.
Well, the pool, Friday, one of the filters blew out. And fiberglass filters just blew out. So we have the other filter. So we were still filtering the water, but that only can filter at 300 gallons per minute.
Okay.
And you need to cycle all your water within a 6-hour period. That would only allow us to do it in, it would take us like 9 hours to do it. And state says you have to do it in 5, you have to turn it over, you have to be at least 550 gallons. So we're able to maintain the chemicals and the cleaning and all that, but we don't meet state requirement of how much you have to filter per minute. So when we called Saturday, we've got 2 plans. They've already worked on it today. They're going to try to repair the current filter by putting more fiberglass and belt around it. If that doesn't work, the company that we work with has 2 not commercial, but residential type filters that we could pipe into ours to get our pool up and running. So we're hoping one of those 2 will get us through the summer.
Okay. I know, like, at least for my home, when I'm having a big repair, I say, so how long, give me an idea of what I got for in the future, and how long can I keep, putting bubble gum and duct tape on this before
this is short term. This is very short term. We're going to need to replace that filter.
Because, yeah, it seems like we're sending money.
Everything with being on the Parks Committee, basically, I can tell you that everything with the pool every year is constantly trying to fix and maintain it. The problem is there's not a budget to replace the pool, and the pool is still profitable at this point because the revenue that comes in from it offsets the maintenance costs. So we're going to continue to do that until the village can afford to replace it.
Okay. I'm just making sure it's still profitable is the
As
question.
of last year, it's still profitable. I don't know if that will change.
It's not profitable.
No.
The revenues are not more than the
We're
expenses.
not losing money, are we?
Yes.
But yeah,
Oh.
pool is definitely subsidized by the taxpayers.
Yes.
Oh,
And not, but it's just so you know, it's not just that program. You got to understand the revenue that parks bring in only equals about 50% of the cost of the park and rec department.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So, but anyways, we're going to work on it to get through the pool. We're going to definitely talk about how we can make it last. I can tell you from the meeting today with staff, pool will be right after we get done with the village hall and police station. That was number 2. So that is high on the radar. And I'm meeting with Bobby and Brian tomorrow, and we're going to hopefully at some point be able to give a realistic time that the pool can be replaced. And then that's when we need to start doing the homework for it.
Okay.
It's kind of shocking to me that I see De Pere is spending $7 million on a pool.
Where'd they get that money from?
I don't know. That's more than we're going to spend on Village Hall and police station.
But that's a really nice pool, I think.
Is it?
Is it going to be at least indoor, outdoor, or is it all outdoor for,
Yeah, I don't. That just seems like a lot of money.
Can we go hang out there?
Well, anyways. So let's just, we'll be able to feed, and I'm not even sure Mike will keep that on the SIP for next year. We'll just have to see. We'll just have to see how it plans out. But we're well aware of the condition of the pool, and it needs to be replaced. There's absolutely, I don't think anybody doubts it. It's a matter of getting it on the schedule when it's affordable. All right. Anything else or anything that people want to put on future agenda?
No.
All right. Well, I'm hoping it'll be tight, but I'm hoping that we'll have that staffing and capital report by the August meeting. All right. Do I have a motion for adjournment?
I will.
Motion to adjourn.
Do I have a second?
I will second that motion.
All right. I have a motion and a second to adjourn. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Thank you very much for joining in. Some good information. I'll keep you abreast on the curbside leaf pickup.
See you guys.